bloody quiet, man. We're supposed to be sneaking around, and you're here making all this racket. God, so unprofessional. Oh, man. Hurry up.
Cal, how much further is it? I've been walking for hours.
Yeah, you've been walking in a circle for hours.
What? Why are you leading me in circles? I'm starting to think you don't want me to find my games.
Of course I do. I just didn't realize at first that these video game signals I've been tracking, they're coming from your cane.
Oh, so that's what that was. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
I don't know, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe I can help.
Listen, Tom, now is a bad time, okay?
Well, you were looking for people to help find your games, weren't you?
Yeah, but...
Now I'm starting to think that you think that I'm not smart enough to be the brains of this operation.
No, not at all. You've been a great help. But if you've got something insightful to say, spit it the fuck out already!
Okay, well, if you want this madness to end, maybe just try finishing the review.
I don't follow.
Just give slide 3 a fucking score already!
Wow, that's actually a great idea, but I'm so conflicted. I don't know what score I should give it.
Jesus Christ, man! Just make up your goddamn mind already!
Don't try to fight it. Fear it. It was like they always say. Your life really does flash before your eyes. There it all was, stretching back to a few days ago. I was in line to become the next master reviewer. I had everything I needed, the skills, the good looks, and the shelf. But fate had different plans. Everything I had ever worked for had been stolen from me, so I set out to find the one responsible. Progress was slow and Cal was doing everything in his power to locate my games. But it wasn't until we stumbled across Tom that progress really started to pick up. Thanks to his encouragement, I finally decided to try Sly 3 as I journeyed to investigate our only lead. What started as a simple and charming action platformer, the Sly franchise converted into the more open world genre, as was the style at the time. The problem with this decision was that despite Sly 2's large variety of new gameplay styles, very few of them were actually refined, and most numbed the brain harder than a dense rock to an infant's skull. But the real question of today's video, does the third game learn from these mistakes, or is it just as mediocre as ever? It starts off at the end of the game as Sly and company attempt to infiltrate Dr. M's island base and stop him from gaining access to the Cooper Vault, filled with generations of treasure. Things go sour pretty quickly as the Doctor summons this mistake and captures our hero, spiraling into a flashback to start off our journey. After the events of the previous game, Murray left the team in guilt as Bentley was forced into a wheelchair for the rest of his life after being crushed by Clockler. Damn, that's some pretty heavy shit right there. Not discouraged, however, Sly and Bentley learn of the Cooper Vault and begin efforts to build a crew, equipped to take back control of the Great Fortune. The first step is a trip to Venice and get Murray on board with the plan, as he spent the previous year on a spiritual quest. So here we are in Venice, where the evil Octavio, a disrespected opera singer, rules the streets. Now, as is the case with all of these games, the first thing I'd like to bitch about is the darkness and how unbearable it is. Look at this! I can't see fucking shit! Oh wait, they finally got it right! Holy shit, this is nighttime, it's represented perfectly and doesn't make me feel blind. I can't believe they actually got it this time. Words cannot describe how overly joyed I am to see this. Fucking 10 out of 10, and this is just proof to my point really. Just look at these two games side by side. And sure, there are times when the game is darker than this, but even then, I can still see everything clearly. So already, we're off to a good start. The levels this time around haven't changed much structurally, although there does seem to be less time being spent in the hub location for certain levels, and some more platforming and puzzle solving injected in too. The time you do spend in the hub areas is still some of the weakest parts of the game in my opinion, as it does get pretty tiresome navigating the same locations repeatedly for over an hour. There isn't even anything to collect, no message bottles, no hidden treasure, and no safes unless it's part of a mission. These locations may look much nicer, but now they just feel empty. It's never challenging navigating, however. Of course it's not for Sly, but Murray comes with a new ball maneuver, which allows him to roll around or bounce high up into the air. This makes it a lot easier to avoid and destroy any guards that stand in the way, and as for Bentley, well, he's in a wheelchair. Poor old crippled Bentley can't do diddly dick.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
Well, okay then. This wheelchair can jump, double jump, hover, it's got a magnet for pickpocketing, he can even roll upstairs, and surprisingly, Bentley is my favourite character to play as, more so than Sly. I never thought I'd see the day when playing as a character in a wheelchair would be a highlight of the experience. This is fucking awesome! But these aren't the only characters we're playing as on this adventure, as the crew continues to grow in strength and numbers as preparation for the big heist. Up first is the Guru, Murray's spiritual instructor from Down Under. He's restricted from attacking but can hide in plain sight and control people's minds, sending them cascading into destruction. In Holland we meet Penelope, who's got all of the vehicles, attack helicopters and remote control cars. In level 4 we even travel to China and meet face to face with the Panda King, who has turned to meditation and peace after being stopped by Sly in the first game. We even get to relive that boss fight, which I'm really excited about as it was the best boss fight in the first game. Once we've made peace, he joins the team as a demolitions expert. Finally, we have another familiar face, Dimitri from Sly 2. After breaking him out of jail back in Venice in exchange for information about Murray's whereabouts, he calls in a favour to recover his groovy daddy's diving gear, baby, and joins in the action with some underwater levels, which are certainly the worst of these playstyles, but at least there is some strong variety here. Even Carmelita is playable. She gets to run around blasting people, which is just another layer of different gameplay. But that's not even it, as there are still a bunch of other styles too, such as boat chasers, boat navigation, dogfighting, pirate battles, costume puzzles similar to Ratchet 3, dialogue trees, spider cameras, whatever the fuck this is, and the return of Bentley's Matrix shit, which is a lot more tolerable this time around as it doesn't take 20 years to break down barriers. Jesus, even some of the regular platforming levels offer a 3D mode, because haha, Sly 3, gotta jump on that fucking bandwagon, even if it does melt kids' eyes. This is optional though, so I only did it the once, but still, that's so much stuff. And it's all really repetitive. The same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But it never gets boring because the gameplay is constantly changing. A lot of people are probably gonna cry hypocrite here.
Hypocrite!
Since I'm the guy who'd apparently prefer the same thing on a constant loop and not get bored of it. But that's not true. As much as this is a total clusterfuck to the senses, as much as it's all the same thing over and over again, and as much as this game doubles or even triples the amount of different shit going on here compared to other games where I've bitched about it, It does not get boring. When these hacking games showed up, my mood plummeted from elated to regretting career choices immediately, which is a shame because level 3 was the point where I started to fall in love with this game. However, they didn't bother me, A, because they've improved, and B, there is only 6 in the entire game. 4 in a single mission, then another 2 in the next level, and it's done. Now compare that to doing this 19 fucking times in the second game, and you can see why it's so much better. None of these different gameplay styles are given enough time to become boring, and that's why it works. The only time this isn't the case is the pirate fights. Oh boy. Comparable to Assassin's Creed 4, but a much shittier version. The problem here is not the mechanics or style of the gameplay itself, the problem is the amount of times you have to do it. This portion of the game sees you free roaming on the open seas with nowhere to go and nothing to see. Aside from a mission where you need to do this 3 times, which already is too much, any time you go too close to another ship, you're forced into a battle. It's great for getting money quick, but never really enjoyable in my experience with it. But aside from that, this game is much easier to sit through compared to Sly 2. In that game, we had a similar yet smaller variety of different gameplay styles, but they weren't as enjoyable because of being featured in just about every level, or they were just bad by design. The less enjoyable gameplay modes here go unnoticed because they're barely featured more than once or twice. The easiest way to explain this is looking back at the first Sly game. I said that every area felt different because it introduced something new and focused on that while continuing to try new things with stuff we've already seen. And that's the same case here. I'm so glad we got back to that. The constant changing prevents the game from getting boring, and this point is only solidified more by the continuously upped presentation quality. The first game had a simple story told through brilliant presentation. The second game had a somewhat rushed and poorly executed story told through brilliant presentation. And the third game?
This is one of the best stories ever told in a video game, and I mean every word of that.
Not only is the quality of the story told here so expertly crafted, but the characters are all great. There is so much charm crammed into every single cutscene and character, it's truly gobsmacking. Sly is as sly as ever, Dimitri was the star of the second game in my opinion, even Panda King, the blank-faced, silent but deadly character, delivers one of the funniest lines in video game history.
Yes, rise and let me punish you.
That's what I say to my dick on a lonely night. But the true star here is Bentley, by far. Not only has he got the most creative and adorable gameplay as I mentioned earlier, he is a fucking savage. He steps up to Octavio in an opera battle that had me in tears. He goes face to face with a returning mugshot and challenges him to a street fight after insulting his mother.
Your mother was a broken down tub of junk with more gentleman callers than the operator.
And by the end of the game, he's transitioned from a scared geek to a strong hunk of hero, winning the girl and having prepared his team for all of their enemies. You can't help but love him, honestly. The boss fights in this game are all over the fucking place, as usual it seems with this series. We've got the opera battle, which is fun, until it's not. Then in the Australian level, a possessed mask transforms Carmelita into a giant. Damn, really wish I didn't use my Shadow of the Colossus comparison last time. This comes out of nowhere and really throws off the pacing. Shit like this should be reserved for the final battle, not the second one. It's a poor decision. In Holland, we battle the Baron on the wing of an aeroplane. Fun, but it's giving me PTSD of this fucking thing. Once in China, we get to battle General Cao, and wow, does the quality of this game peak at this point. We start off with moon physics jumping jumping across a bamboo chasm, which is really great, until we reach the earth beneath and have to constantly remain vigilant and in the moment, avoiding his extremely fast attacks, returning the favour when possible. This is really, really great. One of the best boss fights I've ever played. From there, we shoot up into the sky to ride a dragon, and unfortunately, the fun is destroyed in the pirate level doing this swashbuckling shit. This is the perfect example of an entirely new gameplay style that outlived its welcome far too quickly. I will admit though, I was a fan of all of these characters. They're built up strong much like the first game, with the weakest link unfortunately being Dr. M. You know, the main bad guy. He's forgotten during the entire game, with barely even a mention here or there. It actually reminds me of Symphony of the Night, where you only see Dracula at the very start and end of the game. It's pretty disappointing if you ask me.
What's up, Cal?
Slight problem. It seems the closer you get to my original coordinates, another video game signal nearby is growing stronger and stronger.
Do you think this could be our guy?
I believe so. Here are some coordinates to their location. I'll keep you informed if anything changes.
Roger. I'm almost finished with Sly 3. I just hope we can catch this guy.
So, the final level, and we're taken back to the start of the game. I found the game started pretty slow and didn't really pick up until levels 3 and 4, which were stellar. Level 5 started strong but failed towards the end, so let's hope this final level can end on a high note. Not gonna happen. This entire ordeal is fucking dog shit. How many times do I have to say it? These marathon levels to end the game are so rarely good that developers just need to quit on them. They're not fun. All of that positive stuff I said about how despite the large variety of repetitive gameplay styles, they're still able to remain fun. This level pushes them all over the line. Carmelita saves Sly from Dr. M's monster, which is fine. Guru hypnotizes some sharks to attack a buoy, also fine. Then Dimitri shows up, meaning some underwater shit. So far we've done this once, and that was honestly enough. Bring on the RC car, which would be fine if the physics weren't broken, and then follow that up with the flying. Again, the flying was fine in small quantities back in the aviation themed level, but here, it's just not fun. I feel like I'm breaking the game performing some glitch just to attack this guy. Once that's finally over, we gain access to the Cooper Vault, which features all of Sly's skills put to the test. I love that idea. It's just such a shame that it goes on for far too long. It took me almost 20 minutes to get through this thing and I only died once. Again, it just slows the pacing down to a crawl. Enter Murray, who has to fight a never-ending barrage of bad guys, and much like Contessa's prison, I considered turning the game off and ending it here. Maybe I'm bad at the game, a lot of people seem to think that. Maybe it's because I don't care enough to purchase any abilities for this character, since he is barely seen throughout this game, or maybe, just maybe, they should have ended this thing 3 hours ago. They really should have. Their storytelling was through the roof, and now in the final moments of the game, they tried to plant a seed of dissension among the heroes. Turns out, Dr. M is the Bentley of Sly Sr.'s band of thieves, and tries to turn him to the dark side. Honestly, I'd have no problem if Bentley had struggled with this for the entire game, and not just the very end of it. Finally, we face Dr. M in a simple final boss fight, and it's finally done. Carmelita comes in after Sly takes a fall and gets amnesia, causing her to trick him into a relationship. Silly girl, should really know by now who she's dealing with. The Cooper legacy is destroyed, Bentley begins work on a secret project, and everyone lives happily ever after. Except for me. Why did this have to happen? It was going so well, and then they botched it. I really love the high points of this game, but the bad, it's all I can think about. Maybe if they didn't end the game on such a rushed fuck job of a finish, then this game could have gotten a much better score, but unfortunately, it really kills it. I'm sorry, this is bad. But while it does end on a sour note, I find my time playing this very similar to the first game of the series. Yes, it's repetitive in its gameplay and ends on a bad marathon, but the overall experience is full of charm, continuously reinvented levels, and is still worth playing for the most part. It also helps that there is a lot of side stuff to do, extra challenges and even multiplayer, which is a great addition if you ask me. But even then, it's a fine line between marvellous and mediocre.
Cal, how much further is it?
Jesus Christ, man! Just make up your goddamn mind already!
Take control, Mary. Take control.
Okay, I think I've got it. Sly 3 honor among thieves gets...
Hurry up!
Say something!
6 out of 10! 10! Oh, fucking great!
Did we win? Are we still alive?
We're about to find out.
Let it consume you. Let it take over and infect your conscious.
I think it's okay. Thanks. I was wondering where I left that. You stole my games! Where are they? Actually, I think you'll find that you stole my games. How am I over there when I'm here? Because I am you. That's how. Yeah, but how is that even possible? Time travel. I'm you from the future. Because all of my games were stolen again, I decided to travel back in time to when this happened before, assuming that your meddling here was causing my games to disappear. Oh, but that doesn't make any sense. If you didn't steal my games, then who did? We did. So, you're telling me that I stole my own games? Are you fucking kidding me? Is that the best you could come up with, Fruit Loop? Look, just tell me where my games are and I'll be on my way, okay? I can't tell you where they are as it could create some kind of paradox, but I can tell you this. This thing, you know what I'm talking about, this entity, it won't stop. It will do everything in its power to prevent you from playing. Yeah, okay, I've heard enough. I'm going home now. Wait, you must heed my warning. Was a pleasure to meet you, strange spaceman of the future. Have a great fucking day. I hope the trip back to your present time explodes your brain. Good luck. Ah, it feels so good to be home, especially with all of my games where they belong. Wait a minute. Something is still missing!